My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
And there is the same sex offender, the Ontario International Airport, and every gang stalking airline. Keeping my vagina under surveillance at the library, keeping my vagina under surveillance at the Stater Brothers. And what's the common denominator? A fake sun remains over me where this airport is engaging in surveillance. No flights are taking off doing cartwheels over downtown Ontario luxury apartments where the fake sun rises and sets and never exceeds west beyond that location. But it does when I go in the morning. We're stalkers. 714-16J3, that enlarged shadow is evidence of engineered light where you are stalking with the government. environment. That exposes them by silence. You don't have to say a word where the government is stalking in the environment, because so are the people. License 9AFW878, 9AMD831, 8UND513. This is Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt Boulevard. This is a light. This is all engineered light underneath a covered structure. This will be shade. Okay, underneath, this is for the gang stalking purposes of the clearly unintelligent demons who have no intention to get beyond a federal prosecution for terrorizing an American citizen that it has proven to be conspiring to murder. And they're still giving me evidence. This is evidence that you are aware of, revealing what is mental illness, not just criminal activity. Okay, this is the airport following me to the Stater Brothers. This is Holt Boulevard where they're pacing. A fake son is speaking to what is surveillance. This is not traffic, it's surveillance. And while the entity is following me around, flying over me at 156 Bonita, following and engaging what is stalking at the downtown Ontario luxury apartments where the fake son remains at the ARCO, the apartment complex, OVITT Family Community Library, and then all of a sudden you're at Stater Brothers on Holt Boulevard. There's not even any flights from the airport that will include cartwheels in the middle of the property to go back. This is the entity that's stalking. Demon. 8JZS305. Everything you hear and see is pursuant to monitoring. This is demonic. That's not the natural environment. Nothing here is. That's impossible light to be underneath this coverage structure. This is P.O.C. And last night, as you'll see in my documentation, the fake moon was right here over me where Krispy Kreme is stalking with light activity. Like Vector is stalking with light activity at the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library, a facilitating venue where the entity keeps a fake son, which is the evidence here at the Ontario Village Shopping Center as well. This is P.O.C. This is a massive federal RICO case. They're engaging in surveillance. Don's not a manager. He's a terrorist. This is a case. And Stater Brothers is merely anchoring this shopping center where everyone, including those on the roads and the highways, are engaging in surveillance, comprehensive surveillance, surveillance of one's genitalia. P.O.C., it is 7:59 a.m. Here's the entity that opts to engage in more stalking conduct with the so-called security guard while they're engaging in the pattern of conduct of monitoring online. This is the entity's false sense of magic and witchcraft, which is criminal activity and evidence of mental illness. You will not engage in more stalking and that be the means whereby you are going to obstruct justice. In fact, obstruct justice meaning you're going to stalk someone more, and the more that you stalk, the more mentally ill evidence you have. This is literally the system that the Ontario Police Department, the City of Ontario, have utilized, and I documented all their criminal activity pursuant to monitoring on my device. So with the people of the state who are the entity that engage in stalking with them. This is stalking by a whole venue. They have engineer light flying all about. The light activity on the vehicle, this is what Vector is doing under the fake sun. That is not at the OVITT Family Community Library right now, which would not be creating light activity under this covered structure at any point during the day when it's at the OVITT Family Community Library, and it is not while it's reflecting off of this windshield, speaking to immediacy, where the entity is also shown to be at a fake sun stalking with the airport. The entity's doing that while I'm publishing onto X right now, which will be added with this evidence, speaking to the ongoing pattern of ongoing obstruction of justice. More and more terrorist acts, more and more sexually violent acts, like Abigail monitoring my vagina in the bathroom at 9 p.m. The entity, Rob Strauss, monitoring my vagina in the bathroom yesterday morning. Vector engaging in what is conspicuously stalking with regard to what is psychologically torturing while they're all monitoring my vagina at the OVITT Family Community Library, where I'm showing you Kelly Blacken is a demon gang stalking at that entrance during the 9 a.m. hour. There's no sun at all while they're stalking in the path with light and noise in the specific environment. This is P.O.C. And this is where the entity is speaking as the state, okay? You are engaging in that conduct not ignorantly, but pursuant to a pattern of conduct where the airport is indeed stalking. And Safeguard on Demand is engaged in criminal monitoring as well. This is psychopathic pacing in the parking lot. They're engaging in molestation while they're parking in the spots, speaking to mental illness in the City of Ontario in the blue vans. The serial stalkers that I already documented, the basis for removing Polyon, amongst many other means of and resources regarding removing a terrorist from office, are coming and sharing in that sexual violence while I'm publishing the fact that this entity is both engaging what is stealing from me, stealing my money, and then as their audible activity, meaning while they're monitoring, harassing, and referencing homelessness, that is the product of this very gang stalking system. I also want to be clear, it is also a basis of federal prison. That's no ordinary means of what is harassing someone while you are conspiring their murder, stealing and defaming their character. Remember, homelessness is the basis whereby Jason Fields and Tracy Banks and the Ontario Police Department are kidnapping and defaming character. The entities engage in this while you're embarrassed because you are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and I'm showing you to be a psychopathic, vagina monitoring stalker who comes to the grocery store to stalk a woman, stalking with your mother. Okay, it's entirely pathetic, and you'll see that published on X as well. This is the airport that's engaged in that ongoing psychopathic pacing, targeting me because of what it is that I'm documenting. This is a pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. Standing in the shade, fake sun, crossing path, and that's P.O.C. The dog barking is audible activity. The fake sun is the unintelligent guise of what is a normal environment where nothing's happening, nobody's stalking you, nobody's targeting you. Anonymity, supposedly strangers, impossible light surrounds, including in the shade. That's the pattern of conduct, literally why your dog is barking. This is not private property. And the entity that meant is doing so also with the state. That is also keeping you under surveillance. It's not just the people that live here looking at those cameras. The government is keeping you under surveillance, and they are in the shoes of the government. And this is monitoring while your dog is barking and I'm being molested. And I will prosecute you, Satan. I will prosecute you where you live, where you're renting, where you're paying your mortgage, where you're reporting to work, where you're on the sidewalk, when you're in the middle of the street, when you're in a fire truck. I'm going to prosecute you. When you're in a helicopter in a commercial plane, I'm going to prosecute you. This is the same block where the city of Ontario's gang stalking with the neighborhood at this same corner. This is P.O.C. It's 10:01 a.m. There's no sun over the OVITT Family Community Library. This is the people of the state that are going to be subject to federal prison. They are engaged in terrorism in the U.S. and they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Numerosity is not a bar to justice. P.O.C. This is P.O.C. So just see the impact of that light. That's engineered light, and this is demonic. That's an employee that's gang stalking. This is pacing. 1, 2, 3. And that's impossible light. You see that all over the ceiling? Now this is the behavioral pattern that I've shown you about Big Boy that likes to use his audible activity to make a coward's method of a threat that you say out loud in the environment while you're sparking with light like a psychopath, that you hit girls. That's the entity communicating a threat, okay? The entity that's doing so, they're not ignorant about this light that's traveling across the ceiling. I'll remind you about the Fontana Lewis Library doing the same thing. This is this old, rusty, dusty, crusty, liver spot covered, didn't even wash her face and brush her teeth, came in here with dirty undergarments on to gang stalk me with the city of Ontario. These are demons, all of them, inside the building, outside the building, and maintaining the resources of the city. Paul Leon does not have a job. This is P.O.C. That's walking in engineer light, they're pacing. This is monitoring. We're going to create that light activity, ever. All right, the entity's engaged in psychopathic pacing centered around keeping me under surveillance, and the entity is stalking by airport, by helicopter, by fire department, the Ontario City Hall. Paul Leon himself is engaged in criminal surveillance. In criminal surveillance while the resources of the city are utilized. You're not staying in office. And everybody knows that you're a demon and you're not a real pastor. And that's why demons are operating the faculties, the facilities, the resources of the city, gang stalking me from Stater Brothers to the OVITT Family Community Library. These are demons. This is P.O.C. Remember, the engineer light is in the bathroom. It's on the wall, on the floor while they're walking around with multiple shadows, and this is pacing.
All right, so go ahead and start.
P.O.C. It is currently 11:03 a.m. Remember, Jay Sandoval is under the fake 38 a.m. That's along this same trail. They're stalking me in the bathroom. This is a serial vagina monitor. This is light activity. This is what Vactor is doing, right? This is what Krispy Kreme is doing last night under the fake moon at the Stater Brothers, and the entity has this engineer light traveling across the ceiling. Here's my shadow right here. They're being diagnosed for severe mental illness while they maintain this pattern of conduct like nothing is happening. They're being diagnosed. They're being diagnosed. They are going to federal prison. They include the Ontario Police Department, because this is all of the entity acting vicariously. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is my shadow appearing. You can see this. This is my shadow appearing. Absolutely impossible light activity while Abigail and Lindsay engage in the pattern of conduct with the demons that are coming in, engaging in surveillance. They don't care about reading. They don't care about these computers. They care about stalking and maintaining presence in the path. And the light activity is what speaks volumes about it. This is P.O.C. This is psychological torture and ongoing sexual violence facilitated by the state. These demons are standing in engineer light in the shade. They're stalkers. And all of these males keep my vagina under surveillance. The sexual violence is inhumane, not just criminal and perverted, it's inhumane. This is P.O.C. They are targeting me inside with regard to the maintenance of the light activity. There are no strangers, there's no privacy. Okay? That's the pattern of conduct. Family Community Library has been committing criminal summoning and kidnappings. They're going to prison. Okay? That's the long and short of this. And the psychopaths come in here maintaining surveillance, and they engage in surveillance in the bathroom. Okay, there is no intelligence that you're gaining other than the fact that you're obsessed with my vagina. This is P.O.C.
Read your world. So as I read your world manifest and travel the world through stories and crafts of the library, explore diverse cultures, spark your imagination, and discover the beauty of our world, one story at a time. Happening now in Family Place in the children's area. For families,
The families are demon possessed, they're monitoring. Let me show you what the families are doing. This is impossible light activity. This is recognizing malice of a government. This is the fake sun where all the demons of the city of Ontario that are going to be the evidence, the weapons to remove a terrorist from office, Paul Leon. We're gang stalking as though the sun, because there's only one, or at least maybe the second one, stayed here and orbited around the rest of the planet. But the entity has a fake sun remaining, and this is where the entity is stalking with light, and they're engaging in that, not stacking books, stalking in the path. Okay, it's impossible light activity. So let me show you what she's doing. This is what she's actually doing. She's monitoring. She is a demon. Okay, this is the fake sun, and this is the illusion. This is where the fake sun was this morning. I took a picture of it over the Wells Fargo as I walked from the Stater Brothers, where the city of Ontario was stalking me, as the Ontario International Airport confirmed for the world. Okay, this is P.O.C. It's currently 5:02 p.m. The sun is not going to remain in one city from the beginning until the end of the day. The sun does not remain over one building for the duration of the day. Sunlight doesn't shoot like a laser. It doesn't appear, float in the air, and shoot like a laser into buildings. This is exactly what you saw this morning while all the demons, all the families were monitoring. And that's what they're doing now. It's Title 18 federal stalking. And the families are engaged in vagina monitoring. The demon-possessed ones. This is criminal surveillance. This is P.O.C. It's currently 5:03 p.m. Alrighty, this is documentation regarding, this is engineer light, here's my upright shadow, and here's my shadow down here. This is the context regarding this sexual assault and battery that QDC intentionally makes on behalf of the entity. I just got through publishing evidence, QCD, excuse me, just got through publishing the evidence of sexual assault and battery by the sex offenders who are the people of the state. QCD is engaging in what is light activity in the specific environment, gang stalking the same. It is not different. This is a commercial actor, and they commit egregious sexual violence as a retaliatory measure. And this is Starbucks as well. 62045, pay attention to the light activity. QCD is gang stalking, and that's the fake moon over my head. QCD is gang stalking, and they committed sexual assault and battery. They had 2 trucks pull up tonight to make sure that they assaulted me, okay? That's the entity. The first one didn't touch because I was walking around. So immediately a second one. They are typically, I just want to be clear, typically has 1 truck. I've been documenting them gang stalking me, so this is already documented in the record. These are demons, and this is QCD, which is a gang stalker, and they're committing sexual assault and battery on behalf of the city of Ontario that's engaging in retaliatory measures. And they're engaging in sexual violence of this nature with regard to severe mental psychopathic desires regarding targeting, psychologically torturing, sexually violating an American citizen. That QCD is engaged in the criminal conspiracy to murder. That's why they're stalking with light and molesting with light. This is light activity, not the legitimate business practice or service provision of Starbucks. It's criminal activity. This is quality custom distribution. This is pacing. They're in the engineer. Everything that they're doing is the elements of monitoring. And they're doing it on behalf of the city of Ontario that's stalking me by helicopter and plane, keeping the fake moon over my head. I'm prosecuting them. This is not legitimate business. It's the RICO case. YAKB 459. They committed sexual assault and battery, and the company and the demons that are operating the commercial vehicles are being prosecuted. Those are third parties, and QCD is a third party. License plate 00069. That's an Oregon plate. Pay attention to my... You see my shadow that's moving behind? That's not legitimate business. It's criminal conduct. And they went out, QCD went out of the way, just like Vector, okay? The entity engages in retaliatory conduct that you document because they're going to prison. This pettiness is speaking to what is murdering American citizens and psychologically torture. So those sex offenders can get payback when you document them. They're going to prison for it. And commercial actors are being prosecuted in civil court. The civil damages are serving to serve for what is that criminal prosecution. It is designed to devastate these companies that are conspiring murder, keeping American citizens under surveillance with these sex offenders. QCD is a sex offender. 9G66176. Here's one shadow. Here's another shadow on the vehicle. Here's another shadow back here. Those are sex offenders that come in the middle of the night to assault a woman. They're predators, and so is QCD. All right, QCD, I have on video engaging in what is all manner of ridiculous criminal activity, stalking with light, which is psychopathic with the sex offenders. QCD is gang stalking with the people of the state. Okay, you see the light activity? He's not just strolling by, he's monitoring. And so is QCD for facilitating it. And they wanted to, these are demons engaging in sexual assault and battery, and they're pacing out, you know, all the light activity inside of Starbucks. They're monitoring. Okay, this is the Starbucks that committed kidnapping. So it's no mystery regarding the ongoing psychopathic conduct by stalkers that are surrounding, listening as I am documenting, and they're engaging what is molesting me from Chevron. Those are the same monsters, the same predators, while QCD is creating light activity and they're molesting me all the way at the bus stop. But that's okay because they're being prosecuted. Okay, any immigrants at Chevron are being deported. All the gang stalking demons by license plate, they're on the internet. They're being identified as sex offenders. It's a federal RICO case against all customers that are engaging in the pattern of conduct as a Chevron customer. Doing so while the fake moon is over me, that's a psychopath right there. That's a demon, a vagina monitor. And they commit sexual violence as acts of retaliation. You see the lights that aren't turning? The state is controlling the lights and they're engaging in surveillance. These psychopaths are engaging in terrorism and the state is being prosecuted. QCD is going down for it. That's the reward that you get for engaging in sexual assault and battery. Psychopathic pacing. Psychopathic pacing while demons are surrounding the parking lot, the truck, the red light, surveillance. Chevron parking lot, surveillance. Nothing is stopping them from going. They're stalking, and so are they. These are third parties. These are third parties and they're going to be prosecuted. These are sex offenders and they're demons. That's P.O.C. And they're engaging in surveillance with the people that say, I'm going to prosecute QCD for the ongoing terrorism that they share in while they're making money. You're going to drain their pockets. You're going to punish them in civil and criminal court. Well, you're going to punish them in civil court because the punishment is in criminal court. This is P.O.C. at Starbucks. Under the fake moon. That's where the fake sun is over me at Starbucks at 6 in the evening when the Ontario police are flying in circles monitoring me with all the sex offenders that are engaged in surveillance under the fake sun all day long. This is P.O.C. This is ongoing confirmation regarding what are the predators that are published on the internet. They're being prosecuted as terrorists in California. They're going to federal prison and they're being deported out of this country. I just want you to pay attention on red light. This is a demonic entity. It's not traffic, it's surveillance. This is P.O.C. This is what QCD is engaging in. Again, license YAKB 459. Sexual assault and battery, retaliatory conduct by QCD. The QCD stands for what is quality custom distribution. This is analogous to the conduct that Krispy Kreme is engaging in under the fake moon at Stater Brothers, that Vector is engaging in under the fake sun at the OVITT Family Community Library, monitoring my vagina. That the city of Ontario is engaging under the fake sun, filling the OVITT Family Community Library, while the people of the state are surrounding while the stalking. That's the prosecution of QCD. That's how foolish they are. That's P.O.C. QCD is engaging in the conspiracy to murder with the city of Ontario that just provided me direct evidence to prosecute them in court. Not that I even needed it. This is P.O.C. There's no landings over here. That's Lemon Avenue. P.O.C. It is currently 11:27 p.m. This is again relevant to the evidence that I published on X regarding the sex offenders who are engaging in what is sexual assault and battery, engaging in what is the unlawful touching of your person. It's the perpetual sex offense, which the Lockout Studios those gang stalking, no beat having, no record deal getting sex offenders who are gang stalking, sexual assault and battery while they are targeting with impossible light, just like they are at Chevron, engaging in surveillance together. As I publish sex offenders, you have the demons that are, again, on the payroll, engaging what is sexual assault and battery. P.O.C. It's retaliatory conduct and you're going to be prosecuted for it. That's impossible light activity. P.O.C. 7FOR 951. Substantially similar. This is P.O.C. That's the entity that's engaged in that. And everybody that's documented on X, all the license plates, the people that say the entire entity is being prosecuted for retaliatory conduct, you're getting more federal prison time. You're subject to what is ongoing violence, which is speaking to loss of custody of children, when that's already within what is going to happen with regard to prosecution of terrorists. You're talking about what is the ongoing basis for deportation. You're talking about what is enhanced damages with the entity. And Mike LORENZ is being disbanded. This is what the gang stalkers of the Ontario police are sharing, and they're going to prison. This is how you're understanding the pattern of conduct. All they're doing is stalking. They're monitoring spirits who are being prosecuted. And the fake moon, by the way, is no longer over Starbucks. It's right here over me, where QCD is engaging in sexual assault and battery. Possessed psychopaths who are committing that violence as an entity, stalking at traffic lights, like they're stalking in bathrooms, like they're stalking at gas stalls, like they're stalking on the roads and the highways. They don't have car accidents. They murder each other, and they murder targeted individuals. This is surveillance. This isn't traffic. These demons are monitoring. They don't have accidents. They attack each other. That's why they're in need of martial law. And they just provided the case. This video is serving to prosecute QCD. This would be all that I need. But I have way more than this to prosecute QCD. That committed egregious sexual violence by having 2 trucks. It wasn't enough. They wanted to make sure that they touched all over my body. That's the entity that's engaging. It's psychological torture, which is relevant to what is damages. And they're doing so while this is terrorism that I'm documenting. Stalking in the parking lot. That's ominous stalking by the people in the ARCO parking lot. That truck. Ominous stalking at the Chevron. Ominous stalking at the stoplight, ominous stalking while they're in this video. You're going to replay it because QCD is sharing in that violence together, while the entities engaged in ominous stalking by the Ontario International Airport that has no landings, wouldn't even be in the sky space, let alone those idiots are landing like you're going down to Lemon Avenue. It's south of Holt Boulevard. Everybody already knows that the Ontario International Airport is stalking. They're flying over the OVITT Family Community Library. What are you doing over here by the ARCO gas? Because QCD is engaged in that P.O.C. and they engaged in a lawful touching, and I'm going to prosecute that company. It's a sex offender and it's a terrorist. This is P.O.C. It is currently 11:30 p.m. These are the terrorists that engage in that sexual violence. So QCD, the City of Ontario, utilizes the business of QCD to commit that violence, and they are suffering, I want to be clear, civil and criminal damages for it. This is P.O.C. This is the environment. Okay, this is the environment. QCD has no constitutional protection whatsoever. And those are the sex offenders on whose behalf QCD commits a sex act for which it's going to be federally prosecuted. P.O.C. P.O.C. That's the Ontario International Airport that's being shut down. That's the Ontario International Airport. I want to be clear, that's gang stalking while I'm at the OVITT Family Community Library because they're going to federal prison. That's the unity in that P.O.C. I just want to be clear. QCD, these are gang members. Quality Custom Distribution, they're gang members. That's audible activity. That's impunity. They're monitoring, and they know that they're being documented. Those are demons, just like Amazon Prime. They commit the gang violence, and then they engage in more of it, like they're excited, like there's no consequences, like this isn't going to be rolled back in federal court, and that a federal judge is not going to interpret and analyze everything that the entities engage in, because you're witnessing it. These are demons. Okay, that excited honking is audible activity by demons that engage in criminal activity later, for which they are regretful. But they commit murder. I'm speaking for those that don't survive. They commit murder and they're that excited. Okay, this is an entity that's engaging in criminal conduct with impunity, and that's the relevance regarding damages. Impunity. P.O.C.